Welcome to USTC360. I'm your host, Dilbar Shatterson, and today I'm going to introduce you to a special group of volunteers from across the country who subsist on a steady diet of pizza, ramen, and all-nighters, which we otherwise know as Tzu Ching. They're Tzu Ching's collegiate group, and they formed student clubs in universities all over the US, banding together to cram, have a good time, but also to volunteer. And in our first segment, you'll hear a song in Mandarin that goes, "It's the hand that rocks the cradle and the hand that moves the world." But when it comes to the Tzu Ching, it's the master's message that's moving sleep-deprived students to rock the world around them. So let's take a look.
Tzu Ching group, in Taiwan, it started in 1992. But here, I would say probably started at 1994. Beginning of 1998, we have a start to contact with each other. We noticed, oh, there's a different chapter in USA.
That was 1998 during our first conference meeting. And all the people who went were officers from different parts of the United States. And these people were really into Tzu Ching. They really want to start something. So that energy was different. So when somebody started saying that, let's do this, everybody followed.
We put together our U.S. Constitution, like how all the chapters should operate, how we should support each other. And we had like a 2-day meeting in the Northern California office, Tzu Chi office. And so a lot of the Shigu back then, they were very supportive. They all came and then, sat with us through that weekend and came up with that document. And so on the last day, like the evening before like everybody takes off, we all went to the beach, and so it was right next to the Golden Gate, and then we built a big bonfire. We started singing, everybody was really sad to go, and then we were all very excited about the prospects of, unifying all these chapters. And so somebody came up with an idea that, we should let this message be sent to Shangren. And then so we were facing the Pacific, and we were like, oh, Taiwan's on that side. And let's all shout like a message to the master.
Shangren, 我们爱你。上人，我们发愿，生生世世追随您的脚步。拥有你的守。 We wish that we can always stay in that, which is had the most happiest time with each other, but we can't. As far as we cherish that moment in a moment, actually that means forever.
When we went back to Taiwan, where it was like the overseas camp, that the master gave us certified. Like a group of us all went up. And when we came down, we noticed some of us had blood on our shirt. And we're like, oh, what happened? Did somebody get cut? And later we learned that Saren, when she was putting on It also reminded me her 她的毅力 and her endurance and her patience with all of us. Because I guess most people, if we cut our finger and we're bleeding, we wouldn't continue. But she finished everybody. She treated all of us the same.
The feeling is totally different from when you see her in person than from you see her on TV. And her energy is just so compassionate that for no reason you'll start crying just by seeing her. And I've been encouraging Tzu Ching that if you have a chance, go. You won't regret it.
What motivated you to come in the first place, don't ever forget it. Constantly utilize your time to refine yourself, because that's pretty much what we're here to do.
The more you see it, you'll find everything speaking the Dharma to you.
While Tzu Ching slowly started popping up across colleges in the US, one young volunteer decided to bring it back to his neck of the woods in California. But is it always a fun cakewalk? There's a saying that goes, you don't volunteer, you're voluntold. So let's see how he's taken that direction and makes it his own. Jin Zhu and John Xu joined Tzu Chi in 1996 at its San Francisco office. They actively volunteered and would bring along their then 13-year-old son Steve to learn more about Tzu Chi.
As a child, I didn't really have a choice. I always had to go where my parents told me to go, and the weekends be dragged along with them. That was what I thought at the time.
So wherever we went, we brought him along with us, no matter if he liked it or not.
In 1996, my mom, she took me with her back to Taiwan to attend the Qinzi, and it was there that my perceptions of Tzu Chi completely changed.
Sometimes he was a little bit naughty. During one class at the retreat, they separated us, and the mothers had to find their children.
I would call my mom's, I would call for my mom, and then I would run somewhere else, and then I would call again. And so I was having fun, but I made it really, really hard for my mom to find me.
The other mothers found their children very quickly, but Steve kept hiding.
After they turned on the lights, I realized that my mom was actually crying because I really, really hurt her feelings. And that was really the first time that I realized that my actions had consequences. So after that point, I started, paying close attention to the classes and why my mom liked Tzu Chi so much and why it was so important to her. And after a while, it started to become important to me too.
In 2002, Steve attended college at UC Davis. When he found out there was no Tzu Ching chapter there, he decided to take action.
And everyone was like, oh, so you can go start it there. We started the Tzu Ching group officially towards the end of 2002. I'm really, really happy that it's still around now.
I've always hoped that he would walk the Bodhisattva path with his parents.
She talks to me one day, she says, I was thinking about becoming the advisor for the UC Berkeley Tzu Ching. I knew that with my English as poor as it is, the only way I could do it is if I had your help. And so I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
So he was really quite close with the UC Berkeley Tzu Ching.
The entire concept of volunteering in Tzu Chi changes when it's something that you're being forced to do and it turns into something that you want to do. I got a phone call from my mom and she said, oh, by the way, you are the main advisor for the UC Berkeley Tzu Ching now. And I'm like, what happened?
Later on, I saw that he had a lot of passion for the Tzu Ching group activities, so he would quickly agree to help them.
She used Tzu Chi as an excuse to get me to participate more, and then as soon as she knew that I was hooked, she's like, okay, it's all yours now. So that was her plan the entire time, and I didn't realize that until after it happened.
Walking on the path of Tzu Chi for nearly 18 years, Steve had transformed into an active volunteer. In 2012, he became a certified member. Since then, recruiting more youth to join the team of volunteers has become one of his most important missions. While Steve continues on as a mentor, we wonder, how much can someone still commit to community service while trying to start a career? Sacrifices, of course, must be made, but can you still find yourself happy to dip your feet in different ponds at the same time? Well, let's meet a talented student who's also from California to find out how he's managed to achieve a balance, but keep it fun at the same time. Michael Aranda is one of the youngest and most active Tzu Chi volunteers from the University of California in San Diego. He came upon Tzu Chi when he was just a freshman in 2008.
My first experience with Tzu Chi was actually in San Francisco. I was just visiting a friend, and her mom is one of the main members in the San Jose branch.
That weekend, we had a Tzu Chi event up in the north.
Her mom had asked me if I would like to come out and volunteer with them on a Saturday. I figured since I'm staying with them and they're providing me hospitality in terms of food and housing, I would, the least I could do was help them out with a volunteering event.
At first, I was a little worried about the other subsists. I just don't want them to overwhelm him at first, but they didn't really do that because homeless distribution is pretty straightforward.
A lot of the Tzu Ching members were very friendly, but the big thing for me was I think they recognized a lot of the people there, and they don't treat people who they're helping as if they're victims. They treat them with respect.
The Tzu Ching volunteer's sincerity touched Michael. He decided to join the collegiate group Tzu Ching.
When I first joined Tzu Ching at UCSD, it was a pretty small officer cabinet and an even smaller member body. It was predominantly Chinese, and the Taiwanese Buddhist aspect of the club was pretty heavily emphasized. Also, right away you can tell that there's a language barrier. A lot of the Sugus and Subos expect you to be able to understand Mandarin. Like, they just right away, when they see you at an event, they assume that you speak Chinese. And so a lot of people's, including my own, their initial impression is that the club is pretty exclusive. But it's pretty easy to see after you attend a few events that, that's not what they're about. They just take volunteering very seriously. So I stuck around with it, and I liked what I saw.
Getting more involved, Michael soon became an officer and later even the president.
One of the things that I really focused on in my presidency was just the officers making a conscious decision to make members who come out to our events feel welcome.
He's a really positive person, so when he's around new people, they get that positive energy with him.
So for instance, at Everybody Reads, which is our tutoring event, I'll make an announcement and say, okay, whose first time is it? Someone gets introduced, and then I ask, okay, so do you know what we're gonna do? Just even starting that simple discussion sort of helps them feel more engaged, more welcomed, and also kind of helps them participate more in the event. Throughout my 4 years of being involved with the chapter and being involved with the organization, I've seen a lot of growth in terms of what we've been able to accomplish, as well as the member body and officer cabinets.
In 2012, Michael graduated from UC San Diego, but a new challenge arose.
So after graduation, I was a little bit concerned about being able to continue doing my work with the UCSD360 chapter. For a computer science major, the obvious choice is to go to Silicon Valley in San Francisco. And also, if I did manage to stay in San Diego, would I have time to keep being as active? There were a lot of discussions during my years in Tzu Ching where they would say, it's okay to focus on your job for a little while after graduation and come back to Tzu Ching later. And I agreed with that for a while, but once I graduated, I realized I really would miss the chapter if I didn't keep participating in it. So when I finally got my job in San Diego, the thing that I realized I needed to do in order to stay active with the UCSD360 chapter was to manage my time better, because I really love the chapter. It gave a lot to me in terms of experiences.
I feel that my friendship with Michael has really grew strong over the course of the years because of Tzu Ching.
So after graduation, I found time to continue attending the regular events at UCSD Tzu Ching.
Hey, what's up? Hey, how are you?
One of my post-graduation contributions that I felt was important to me was being able to contribute things that are in line with my major. So one of the things that is the UCSD Tzu Ching Wikipedia, which is basically a documentation tool for the chapter. For the future, I hope that I can continue to stay with Tzu Ching, learn more from it, take a lot of lessons away from just volunteering with others and continuing to listen to Sugu, Subos, and Master.
As Michael cleverly shows us, we see how there are ways to use your interests to make the best of your time as a volunteer. But now I want to take you to the East Coast, where a few college students started a Tzu Ching chapter in New Hampshire. There, over baked goods and sign language artistry, the students found a relaxing and lighthearted way of hitting the books and giving back at the same time. A 2-hour drive from Boston, the town of Hanover saw their first New Year blessing ceremony this past winter. It's held by youth who initiated a study group in 2011 and have been active in community service. They hope to recruit more people to join their volunteer group and to share what they feel with the local community. After having received lots of wishes from the Tzu Ching family at Boston's New Year blessing ceremony in 2013, they decided to spread the same feeling to the local community.
After the following performance, we will officially start today's New Year's blessing ceremony. It's when we participated in Boston's New Year's ceremony that I was able to learn more about Tzu Ching. Being part of the sign language performance allowed me to appreciate its beauty and help me discover a softer side of myself. Even better, I met many admirable volunteering families in Boston who are doing these things with humility and devotion. I asked myself, how can I do my part? Giving with love, spreading the love in a way that they can truly feel.
998 volunteers and distributed among 20,000 families. Many students went to the Boston New Year ceremony this year and were deeply moved, so was I. We would like to bring this feeling back to our local community. After the event, many of the volunteers returned to their studies. Considering we are busy students, how do we encourage everyone to join in? It reminded me of what masters say, disaster relief is not an obligation. We are grateful to everyone who is willing to contribute. All of us understand each other. We try to be lighthearted while doing all of this so that we don't feel tired.
Religion is not only a belief, it should be applied to our daily life. In doing so, we can live a meaningful life and gain more happiness. In the study group, we focus on sharing our feelings and seek understanding to help each other find our direction in life. This year, we're working with the third team. I'm so glad that we are able to take the leading role in this New Year ceremony. We can't make this performance without the whole group's cooperation, and we got to know each other better and be more mature.
The moment I stood on stage, I was worried that there wouldn't be enough people in the audience and that we couldn't share what we wanted with them. But when I saw a girl in tears during the performance, I felt that even though we didn't have a big crowd, our event is meaningful as long as those who came felt our gratitude and wishes.
Welcome back. If the cookies they were baking didn't make you hungry, then this next video will. Now we visit Ohio, where Tzu Ching get a lot of help from local volunteers during midterms and finals. How? Through fuller stomachs. So let's visit Ohio now to see what's cooking.
My name is Cindy, and I am from Malaysia. I came to the US back in 2010. I came to Ohio State without knowing anyone. Coming to the US, it was very cool, like, oh, this is something that I've seen on TV first. When I first came to the US, I was accompanied by my parents, but they were just here for a while, and then before school started, and they left. I know, initially I was like very brave. I did not cry, so I was standing there, and after they left, I just went out to my room and realized how silent it was, and I started crying.
I know that a lot of students, when they came to US to study, didn't have cars, and the weather was very cold. When they needed to buy rice or soy sauce, they would have to walk a long way, get to the bus stop, and bring the groceries back home. So I thought that we should lend a hand to the international students.
They were very studious. We would see them studying so hard during exams and eating really unhealthily because they didn't have time to cook and were trying to save money. They would rarely go out to eat. They would just eat white rice and canned food. So one day, a sister suggested that we should bring some food over for them. And slowly it became the boxed meal program we have now.
Schools always prepare like lunch boxes for us, especially when we're busy with school and all that. So yeah, it's very touching. That you all out of the blue, school will just call you and say, "Okay, I'm coming to give you a lunch box." So that was like, okay, wow, I never thought of that, and it's a nice little surprise all the time, especially if it's food.
Vegetables that don't taste good are the ones that are good for you, but I'll try my best to cook the veggies in a way that the students can enjoy.
Making lunch boxes brings warmth to the kids. Before I would make 1 or 2, now I'm making 8 or 10. It can be tiring, but I try not to think of it as tiredness. That's what I learned in Tzu Ching, to cherish the moment now. So I just need to finish today's work.
So when we started care packaging, we wanted to have sort of a sense of 传承. And so we were thinking, it's possible for schools to do it, why not? We, as Tzu Chings, take up that responsibility too and try that as well. And so we decided to make our own miniature version of care packages. Our hope that through doing all of these detail-oriented, complicated things that people can really sense how much we care about them and how much we love them, and because they're like family to us.
When my daughter was an OEC student, our relationship was quite tense. At home, I am a very demanding mother. I would pressure them to do what I want and order them around. I didn't know how to respect them. But from working with Tzu Ching, I learned how to respect others better. I now use the same mindset on my children. They know I've softened up and my temper improved, and that I respect them more and give them space. This has been an unexpected improvement.
Thank you, I love you.
When it's Mother's Day or Father's Day, they will mail us cards and email and send some cute pictures for our sisters. In fact, after graduation, they would join Tzu Chi wherever they were. They didn't stray from Tzu Chi. I think we have planted seeds.
Thank you, everyone. It's the best gift in the cold days. 感恩.
And no matter where they are, they will grow stronger in time.
We had the chance to learn the Dharma from Master, and we also had the chance to pass on the Dharma to the students. They are lucky to be able to know and understand Tzu Chi, and to join Tzu Chi. I think that is a very wonderful thing.
I'm very thankful that you guys are taking care of us Tzu Chings on campus. Might get a bit emotional, but yeah. The work that you guys do is very, we really appreciate it. Although sometimes we don't show it. We might just say thank you and leave, but honestly, we do feel the love that you give us. So yeah, 感恩.
I hope you now have a perspective that's more full, but also more fun, on Tzu Chi's young volunteers. It's with them that Tzu Chi is reaching their peers, and it's with them where committed volunteers begin. Thanks for joining me this time. I'm Dilbar Shatterson, and I'll see you soon.